developing. So there's what to talk about. On one hand, maybe people in business-wise would like to see it grow, but I'm sure a lot of people in Albany, I know the New York City people who went would like to see this like this farm. I don't want to call it farm. People would be insulted, but this like little city mentality. No rush hour, like you say, small airport. You can just walk in. Instead of this big boom town, a lot of people I think are living here just because of the smallness a little bit.
And you're absolutely right. And we have to attempt to protect what we have as well. I mean, we have a wonderful environment to live. We don't always appreciate it. Someone who lived in a metropolitan area would laugh when people complain about a traffic jam that we perceive as a traffic jam compared to what you've endured. But on the other hand, I don't think we as a region want to go to that extreme either. I think that we have to have balance. We have to be looking at the opportunities. We have to find the right locations so that they have less, a minimal impact on the quality of life that we enjoy, but fully realizing that we have to grow, and hopefully that the growth doesn't get out of control, that we change this wonderful lifestyle that we all enjoy.
Well, it's a real trick to go from a state employer marketplace with a large service component, service industry component, to something that's offering opportunity to other to business, and yet not lose the very low pollution, wonderful gateway to the Adirondacks kind of, people come here because it certainly is a wonderful environment in comparison, for instance, to some of the other metropolitan areas.
Well, I know just even the Jewish community, I'm always meeting Jewish people, and, where's your background, where you're from? And some people from New York City, I just wanted to get away from that. We're like the next, in a way, step over a big city, really, after New York.
But you're right. People, before long, are they be commuting to New York City from here? You're seeing that happening in Columbia County. It's creeping up the Hudson River, where people wanting to get away from that major metropolitan area are willing to commute.
That's because we're also so reasonable in price and living cost. Mm-hmm. That's why people commute also.
I know when you're in Delmar, Bethlehem, they just find, like you see in Columbia County, just the regions, people are saying this environment for the children where they don't feel that they're getting that in New York City. I don't know if anybody can, but there's enough people who like New York City, so that's all subject. I want to thank you both. We ran out of time. There's so much really to talk about.
It went so fast, having a good time here with you.
Ken Ringler running for Albany County Commissioner, and Larry Rosenbaum.
Albany County Executive.
Yeah,
thank you,
Larry
Rabbi.
Rosenbaum, the Independence Party head, and wish you both luck in all your endeavors.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Shalom. Welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Delmar Chabad Center, my co-host Stephen Lefkowitz. And today, Steve, we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Arnold Grosberg, the principal of the Maimonides Hebrew Day School in Albany. Welcome to the Jewish View.
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Grosberg, I want to ask you what brought you to be a principal, and how long you're in the field, and what brought you into this field to be a principal over children?
I started out as a classroom teacher. Actually, I started out in Connecticut, even though I'm New Englander by heritage. But from a teacher, I just evolved into becoming an elementary principal. Of course, I went for a degree in Masters of Administration at New York University, and then just moved into the field naturally.
Well, very good. Well, before this is actually your first year at Maimonides, of course, for the audience that don't really know about it, Maimonides Hebrew Day School is the Orthodox Hebrew Day School, the only one in the capital area, and this is your first school year with the Maimonides Hebrew Day School. Beforehand, you were in the public school system, weren't you, throughout?
Yeah, I've been a public school administrator for over 20 years, and I've had interesting experiences because I've been principal of both a suburban, one of our most suburban schools in Schenectady, and then my experience has been enriched by being a principal of an inner city school. Most interestingly enough, this was a magnet school, the Math, Science, and Technology Magnet School in Schenectady, and that was a wonderful experience. And of course, working with in an inner city where you have really needy families, needy kids, this is really a wonderful experience, not only for professional experience, but I think as a personal experience, it's really something everyone should do, and I really enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, I'd like you to compare and contrast now, going from the public school system, which you have, of course, enough experience, now moving into the Jewish day school experience. What do you see as a difference or an advantages?
I think the major difference, Rabbi Simon, is that at Maimonides Hebrew Day School, I think the goals and the aspirations of parents and teachers are pretty much on the same page. Everyone seems to be thinking alike, and they have a few simple goals, and everyone's really going in the same direction. As an administrator, when you work in the public school sector with so many families, it seems that you have so many different objectives. It seems every family has a different goal about what they want out of education, and subsequently you spend a lot of time just trying to deal with all of these different aspirations and different goals and objectives. So it's a lot easier to achieve what you want at Maimonides Hebrew Day School because everyone seems to be on a very clear-cut objective. What they're really looking for, of course, is a strong education in Judaic studies and in English studies, and they basically want the kids to be, for want of a better word, good kids in ethics and so on. So two or three just fairly simple objectives.
Let me ask you the question. I know you're saying children, let's say parents are interested in the well-being of their children and obviously try to get the best possible education that's out there. Let's say we make the comparison, let's say, why, as a parent, why should I send my child, let's say, to the Maimonides Day School versus, let's say, sending my child to the public school, coupled with, let's say, Hebrew school, let's say, with school, on Sunday, or let's say with Hebrew supplement, after going to the public school system.
I think probably most students, certainly in this area, probably attend public school, and at the end of the day, once or twice a week, usually once a week, they'll attend for 2 hours a day, and then on Sunday, maybe another 2 hours a day. The problem, as I see it, is that they are into a lot of conflicting material, not only the English and the Judaic, but they're conflicting shall I say, ambience in the schools. You got different policies going on in one school versus another, different faculties that the children are having to deal with, different schedules of movement. In Maimonides Hebrew Day School, we're able to integrate both of the studies. So during a typical day, our kids move from both English and Judaic, but also a lot of it is actually mixed, and it enriches each other, and it's integrated. And I think so. What it does is it tends to the English enhances the Judaic, Judaic enhances the English, and instead of whereas with the other system where kids go to a public school in the day, it's clearly separated. There's no way the teachers can work together to integrate it.
I just want to, as a follow-up, I'm sure another concern that parents usually have concerning whether or not they should send their child to, let's say, a Jewish day school, is their concern whether this particular school meets their child's needs concerning secular studies. I'm sure that they're probably aware of that. They probably get a very good Jewish studies. A great deal of emphasis is placed on that. But also, in the back of their mind, I'm sure they're worried about, well, is my child going to get a good foundation such that they can go to, let's say, Harvard or to Yale?
Yeah, our typical school day runs about an hour and a quarter to an hour and a half longer than most of the public schools in this area, in the Capital District area. So we do keep that in mind. But there seems to be tremendous interest on the part of the parents, our Board of Education, And not only English teachers, but Judaic teachers, that we work as hard as we can to have a high-quality secular program. And there's a lot of talk and a lot of interest about that. And so we try to put every effort we can into it. The English program follows the guidelines of the state syllabus as close as we can in terms of Regents examinations, but we try to keep our children up as much as we can on that. According to the faculty, this is my first year, of course, but our children have done extremely well in the not only the Regents testing, but the state PEP tests that are given at grades 3 and 5. In grades 3, it's math and reading, and in grades 5, the writing test. And our kids have always done extremely well. So the emphasis and the effort and the interest is there on the part of the not only the faculty and the parents, but the Board of Education.
I see.
I think that that's important. I mean, it's just also, you know, we're talking about public schools and education, maybe 2 + 2 = 4 in public school and in Maimonides. First of all, I mean, we can say maybe there's a better quality of child, so to speak, but also even in the, like Mr. Grosberg's brought out, I mean, the moral standards of the children. For example, I mean, there's, and maybe Mr. Grosberg surely knows more than me about the public school system, but from what I read and what I know, I mean, even let's say the drug problem, or even boy-girl, I mean, I don't know if people consider that a problem. I consider that a, you know, just a distraction from studies. People are into dating and into different immoral acts that they go through, and that is removed totally from the Maimonides community, a Jewish day school community. How much does that add to the character and also to the intellectual? Because more time for homework, more time to, like you're saying, focusing on really the 1 or 2 things. I want to get an education, and I want to grow up, use the Yiddish word, a mensch, you know, just to be a mensch, a good person in the world also. I mean, you see that even in that, in the quality of that
one of the
situation.
when I mentioned that in a public school setting, you have families coming in. Everyone's got a different view as to what public education should be and what we should be teaching. And one of the things we're always have to be careful is the idea of teaching ethics, because what you and I might consider a valuable thing to be teaching children, that does irritate some families, and they will make issues of it. We make no bones about that. Maimonides, we do teach ethics. We do teach children. We expect children to have self-respect. We expect children to treat each other in a charitable manner. We expect them to be charitable. We expect them to be kind to each other, and these are things that are taught, and it's an integral part of the program, part of the Torah, and that's all part of the program. And we don't make any apology for that. That's done with the affirmation of teachers and parents, and I don't think that we have any parents who would disagree with that.
I just maybe a simple question. Where is Maimonides Day School located?
Maimonides has a really excellent location right now. We're located in Beth Emeth, which is on Academy Road, and actually, I don't know if you're familiar.
Which is where, in Albany?
In Albany, and we're directly across from Albany Academy, and it's really almost like one large campus. In fact, Albany Academy comes over, and they use our parking lot for part of our facility, and we are very fortunate because we use Albany Academy for one of our science labs, and we also use Russell Sage College, which is right down the street. It's almost part of this entire campus. So our high school students have use of the through the generosity of Russell Sage and Albany Academy. They have use of the science labs.
So you encompass not only the city of Albany, but let's say anybody within the capital district.
That's right. We have students coming from as far away as Saratoga, and quite frankly, the families are, you know, this is a tremendous thing on their part that they make this sacrifice, really, for their children. They feel the school is important enough for the education of their children, and we have children coming from Troy, from Saratoga. Most of our students, of course, come from Albany. This is really a good center, but we have 2 families that come from the Niskayuna area.
Wow. What about, do you provide like financial aid? Because I'm sure being a private school, one has to pay, but what if, let's say, one is interested in sending their child or children to the school? Are there special arrangements made for those who are, let's say, unable to make the full payments? Or?
Sure. We're very process-oriented at Maimonides. Our families are we have numerous committees that work for the welfare of the school. And one of our committees is a committee that, in terms of, help me out, what's the name of the committee for scholarship? Yeah, we have scholarship committees, and we have, whenever a family would like to come to the school. If there's a problem in terms of tuition, the committee looks at it, examines it, looks at the family situation, and they do everything they can to so we don't have to refuse any child or any family from coming in. But this is worked out through a process.
And the school's what, from first grade or kindergarten?
Actually, this year we added the nursery, and we have an excellent early childhood director, Debbie Ellenbogen. She's also our kindergarten teacher, and we have children starting with 3 and 4-year-olds, and then we go from that point, then we move to kindergarten, and we go right up to 11th grade.
Up to 11th grade?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I remember when I first came here, I think it was, what, up to 8th grade or 7th grade?
I don't know, 7 years ago, yeah. It's been building every year. We're glad to see that, but I think it adds in also to the community itself. Now, this is important. So far, we've been talking about children being good people for themselves, of course, in their family lives and their families, and having the nachas, as you say in Hebrew, the pleasure given to their parents and their grandparents. But how do they intermingle into the community? They're working and they're spreading out also. It's not just a contained, all right, the few kids are getting a good Jewish education. How does that spill over for the entire community?
Yeah, well, part of our program requires children, our older students, to go out into the community. They visit the daughters of Sarah, they visit the hospitals, so they're mixing. What the community really is seeing is the product of our students. If you if you're interested in putting a younger child into our school, kindergarten or first or second, look at our older students and see how marvelous they are. I mean, these are extremely well-educated, I think sophisticated. These are students who have a certain depth to them in terms of knowledge and tradition and education. They go out into the community, and so the community has a good sense of what children are going to be like when they come through Maimonides. Our families are all community oriented. Okay, these are families that not only have the school as a base, but they have the shul as a base, and they do a lot of community work.
That's excellent, because I just, it's important to note that the education is not just, like I've been keep on saying, the 2 + 2 = 4, and it's that the Jewish education is important, and also the community education, where, again, Mr. Grosberg can talk about, how much children at the high school level, for example, in a public school, are helping out the community or volunteering and whatever, and in some way or another, there's so many different ways to volunteer in any which way, but here it's just almost like it's part of the life of the Jewish education of helping out different people, either in the hospitals or even to help out with different communities that maybe they're Jewish, like you say, the shuls or the temple, or lacking some services like reading the Torah or whatever, or leading the congregation, or just making up the quorum of 10 people, and these kids are ready to do it. So they, in a way, serve a big purpose for the entire Jewish community also.
Just as a little plug, if somebody was interested in contacting you or the school, how would they go about doing that?
Just look up Maimonides Hebrew Day School. If I can give you a plug and give you the number, it's 436-0343. 436-0343. If they forget it, just look up Maimonides School or ask around. And quite frankly, anyone that's interested, the best way to do it is to call me. We'll set a time, come over, visit the school, see the kids. Our best selling point, quite frankly, is to look at the kids. Okay?
Right.
Especially the older kids, and you see the product. Visit the classrooms, meet the teachers, both in Judaic studies and in English studies. And I don't have to say much more to families. They're more than welcome to come in and meet with me. I'm there all the time as principal, and my experience as a public school administrator, and I have to say this as a plug for public school principals, elementary principals that I've worked with. They're excellent, terrific people. They deal with 300, 400, 500 students as I did for many years, and we know how to deal with families, and we go out of our way to help families. And of course, it's a very natural thing for me to do at Maimonides, and I've had a wonderful time. Families come in, they talk. We talk about their child's education, about any problems they have, and we work things out. And there's really an excellent spirit in the school. But I would strongly encourage any families to come over, just call us and come over and see the school.
What studies, what items are topics in terms of Judaic do you cover? I'm sure a broad spectrum, but let's suppose someone was interested in sending their child there. You know, where's your emphasis on?
Well, strong emphasis on the Talmud, on Torah studies. We also, there's Jewish history. The morning, the entire morning is devoted to Judaic studies for most students.
And it starts at what time?
We start at 8:15. We have a longer school day, as I say, in the public schools. We go 8:15 to 3:30. We go about 6.5 hours. And the students daven each morning, and depending upon special holidays, that can go longer. So the students certainly are very strong into the tradition. And the big thing is older students. In addition to our rabbis and our Judaic teachers, our older students are some of our best students. They help teach the younger and bring the younger ones along. And they have the Judaic studies all morning, and then after lunch, then they move into their English studies, which also runs about 3.5 hours. So we balance the day. We're 50-50 on that, 50%, 50%.
I see. And just to reiterate, I guess you meet all the state mandates.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what type of, let's say, sporting activities, or what facilities do they have? Let's say, for children, because they're always mainly concerned about sports, because I know in some of the other communities a great deal or emphasis is placed on sports. Obviously, I know you're not going to have the same level, but
#1 football team.
Well, I have to say, we don't offer varsity sports. That's one thing we don't offer. But we really try to take advantage of the facilities at other campuses close by, and the older students have a program in the evening, which Rabbi Simon knows more about than I do in terms of the extracurricular activities for older students.
We work a lot with the Albany Jewish Community Center, because there really isn't a gym in Teple Beth Emes, and the Jewish Community Center is very gracious to us, so also helping us out. They have a beautiful, of course, gymnasium. They're, what are they, a mile away from Academy Road? Beautiful gymnasium, and they help us out during the day for some gym periods, and even afterwards, after school periods. We have, through them, through their phys ed department, phys ed programs.
I guess one of the impression, the feedback that I seem to be getting, that if I was a parent, that it seems that your school gives my particular child that individual attention if he or she is lacking in something or needs that little extra push.
Yeah, we're a small school. Our classes run typically around, we average about 14 and 15 in the primary grades. If we get into the upper grades, then the average student-teacher ratio from about 6 on up is even smaller. We go about, I'd say, 8, 9 to a teacher. So we're able to offer a lot of individual attention. But there's a certain intimacy in that school. Okay, it's a nice modern facility, but everyone mixes with everybody there, the students and the teachers, and subsequently we all know, and we're all kind of tuned into both the successes or any problems that students are having, and we're able to deal with them very quickly and help the kids along. But again, it's a very intimate school, and that's what's nice.
I think we talked about a good idea with hopefully getting the people an idea. We should bring our cameras one time. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea into the Maimonides and show exactly, because like Mr. Grosberg's saying, you don't know it until you see it. But maybe for the future, maybe is actually your new blood into the school and bringing new ideas into the school. What did you see as you look at the Maimonides, maybe goals for the future of expansions or of new ideas that can help Maimonides?
Well, one of the things I was just talking to Rabbi Rubin today about that, I really like to see more music coming into the school. Our kids are really very spiritual. There's almost a spiritual feeling among our kids. We don't have to tell them what to do in terms of their responsibilities, in terms of Jewish tradition, in terms of Jewish law, in terms of their whole, whatever happens during the day, in terms of following kashrut or anything. They know. There's just this spiritual feeling, I think. But I'd really like to see more music, more typically Jewish music introduced into the school during the day, and we were talking about that when the kids have recess, have it even in some classes when students are working quietly, and we're talking about ordering some tapes just to get to kind of enhance that sense of it in the school also.
Are there any special programs that you're planning to have during the course of the year, or any special like field trips, just to give an idea as to what's being offered?
Yeah, we have the traditional, we'll have traditional Purim programs, and we'll have Hanukkah programs that we have planned already during the year. That's part of our calendar. And then we talked also about trying to get more assemblies going, because Beth Emmet does have a nice stage area. So we can get the kids into doing activities, or carrying some of their learning activities over to the stage and turning them into kind of performance activities for other kids. This is something I personally would like to see in the school.
That's good. I mean, just these extracurricular activities would be good to enhance the programs for the kids over here. And of course, the good buildings that we have. In grades, I mean, look, we talked about the 11th grade, so which is just about a full high school program. You envision a full high school program for boys and girls?
Yeah, right now we have a combination 10th and 11th grade of 6 students, and these students are really very well educated students. And we're assuming that they will kind of move on and will just come up through the grades. We tend to be more top-heavy with students from the primary grades, so over the years, as these students move up, our population will grow in the high school area.
How would, let's say, if I was a parent, where now I'm interested in having, let's say, sending my child to the school, but I didn't have, let's say, such of a strong Orthodox background, and let's say now my child's in the 4th or 5th grade, it would be enough, how would you be able to handle that, or how would the child feel like behind, not in the secular, but in terms of the religious, like Talmud and the other topics?
We offer, our rabbis, with Rabbi Simon and Rabbi Rubin, do some tutoring, and also Rachel Rubin, who is our vice principal for Judaic studies. They do separate tutoring for the students. They'll do it during the lunch hour if they can give a child an extra half hour several times a week, but the intent is to pull the kids along and give them whatever they need. We will find time during the day, and that we just don't allow any child to fall behind. If they need it and they want it, it is available.
I just want to say that that's really exceptional. But I don't know if people really that are listening understand and say, well, of course, it's nice to integrate children together. But I've known some Jewish day schools, there's not that many in any way in Albany. I'm just saying, even I know for a fact in New York and Boston, which of course are close enough, they would almost say that, well, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, you're behind the 8 ball because you came in 4 or 5 years too late, and we can't integrate you anymore. We just don't have the facilities. But this is the emphasis we're showing in that the individual is so important, and there are maybe a few slower kids